Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm excited to do, it's going to be all about foundations, and I wanted to share with you my top 6, not 5, but 6 natural skin-like foundations. So this is really where I have my foundation preference. These are the foundations that are kind of just like a top 6 in my foundation category alone, my foundation collection alone. But especially if you are looking for a foundation that is going to be very natural looking on the skin or very skin-like, this is the video for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I did want to say that I do have some Instagram videos going up on this look here. If you caught my recent Sephora haul video from the Sephora Holiday Savings event, I went in on that haul, and today I'm testing out some of the new products like the Huda Beauty palette. I have some new Charlotte and also Natasha on my face today. So I will have those, if they're already up by the time this video goes live, I will have them linked in the description box, or else they will be going over on my Instagram, which is Merch Beauty Word. Alright, so like I mentioned in the intro, natural finish foundations are just my favorite. They're really what I lean towards. And also with foundations, I tend to like something that's right around medium coverage. Medium to full or medium buildable I think is great also. But for me and for my foundation preferences, kind of that medium natural finish is really a sweet spot of mine. So like I said, these are kind of top foundations just in my whole collection regardless. I did do a declutter video recently also, if you'd want to check that out, so you can actually see a full overview of my foundation collection, and then also some that I got rid of. So I will link that one up in the cards also. But to start it off, this is one of my favorite foundations, and it has been for a couple of years now, and this is from Nars. This is their Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. So this one does retail for $49. It does say that it's a more full coverage foundation. I find it to be pretty medium to full, especially if I use a sponge when I'm blending it out. I feel like I don't have to get like that full coverage, because sometimes to me when I go a little bit too full coverage, it just feels a little bit too much. I also like a foundation that's going to be really lightweight. That's the category that I would say that this falls into also. Like it says, it's a longwear foundation. This is one of these foundations that when I tried it for the first time, I was shocked at how well it lasted on me. When this was first coming out, I remember we had a bunch of weddings that year, and this was like primarily the foundation that I was wearing, because it was like, even if I have to leave my house at 10 o'clock and I know that I'm going to be up really late, this foundation is not going to go anywhere. I think that it's absolutely beautiful. It looks just so natural. A little bit more on the radiant side, I would say, but to me it's just really natural. It's not matte at all. It's not overly radiant. It's just so skin-like and so beautiful. It's just like your skin, but better. So that is the Nars Natural Longwear Radiant. So I was really trying to narrow this down to my top 5, but we ended up going with 6. But I do have 3 high-end and then 3 affordable also. So I'll just kind of go back and forth, but that way you have some different options with price tags. So next up I have this one from L'Oreal. This is their Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. I meant to say the shades. I will try to remember to list the shades in my description box also. From Nars, the shade that I'm currently wearing is in Vallauris, but I do have a couple of shades of this, but this is my best shade match right now. And for L'Oreal, I have the shade 450. The L'Oreal runs for about $15. It says it's a medium to full coverage foundation. It's also a lightweight and long wearing. And this is one that I didn't buy right away, but I kept seeing reviews. I kept seeing people raving about it, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go out and give it a shot and see what I think. This is, I mean, I know I have 2 other affordable ones also, but I'm thinking when it comes to like drugstore and affordable foundations, this one I think is my number 1. But it's so hard for me to say, but it is like right up there. This one is just so beautiful. Again, medium coverage that you can build it up to a little bit more full, and it gives you nice coverage without feeling too heavy, without feeling like you're wearing too much foundation. This is one that it's like, no matter how much I pump out onto my sponge, I usually like to apply with a sponge, but I think for pretty much most of these, I would definitely say a sponge works better, sponge for this one. But I could pump some out into my sponge and be like, ooh, maybe I put a little bit too much on there, but then I'll blend it out and I'll be like, no, wait, it looks beautiful. It's so easy to blend out. Like I said, it's very nice and long wearing, and it just makes my skin look like my skin, but just even better without going too overboard. I'm such a fan of this one. If you haven't tried it yet, I definitely would recommend. Going back to another OG foundation of mine, I've been talking about this foundation for years. I know a lot of you have purchased this one off of my recommendation, which I think is so great, but this is from Wander Beauty, and this is their Nude Illusion foundation. This one is $40. This one was one to me that when I started trying it, I was like, how is a foundation staying so well for so long? I can remember doing like multiple road trips, like driving crazy amount of hours and just like in and out of cars and wearing this foundation, and then getting to the end of the night, which like we would start our day early in the morning, end of the night, I'd be looking at myself in the mirror and like, how does my foundation still look so good? This is like crazy impossible. It just like becomes one with your face. I don't know how it does it, but it is so beautiful. Okay, so it definitely has more like medium coverage to me. Like this is medium. If you really want like a medium to full, I don't know if this is going to give it to you. It's also, to me, it's not light coverage. It is just a solid medium coverage, but I think that it's beautiful. It says that it leans a little bit more on the radiant side also. I would say this one actually probably pulls more radiant than the Nars, if that is something that you look for. But once again, to me, it's like, it's just natural. It's just skin-like, and it's just beautiful. I have the shade light medium. I don't think that they have the strongest shade range, I will say, for this foundation. I hope that they continue to come out with more shades because I do think that it is so beautiful. It does have a larger doe foot here for the application, so the first two did have the pump on them, but this is one that I feel like I'm gonna go through this foundation and like at any moment, every time I use this one, I'm like, anytime now it's gonna happen that I'm going to use it up. It's because I use it so often and I think it's great. Another affordable foundation that I love, you've probably heard me talk a lot about this one too. This is from Revlon, and this is their Candid Photo Ready Candid Natural Finish Anti-Pollution Foundation. Okay then, so this one runs for about $11. The big claims on this one is that it's supposed to be like a skincare infused or skincare inspired type of foundation. It's supposed to have a lot of moisturizing properties. It says like it goes on more like a foundation or more like a moisturizer, and when I read that, I wasn't very interested in it at first because I like coverage. I like coverage, but I like natural. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard to find, or sometimes you just have, you know, your top 6 in your collection that you can't even narrow down to 5. But when I actually did try it, to me, once again, you get that medium coverage. This is another one that I think is pretty much like a solid medium. It's kind of difficult to get it up to a full. You can kind of shear it out a little bit to go down to a little bit more of a lighter coverage, but really to me this is a really beautiful medium finish, and which is once again very natural. And this was one that I enjoyed so much that I actually got a shade sent to me in PR, and I went out and bought another shade to have it match me even better, especially when I do have a little bit of a tan going on, and so that is the shade 240. So this one also has the pump on it. I just think that it's a great affordable foundation. Just another one that I recommend so much if you want a really comfortable, long wearing natural foundation. All right, next up we have my most expensive foundation. We already know what foundation I'm going to put in this. It is one of just my top favorite foundations. I sneak it in like everywhere. We probably already know. It is from Pat McGrath. It's from Pat McGrath. It is our Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. This guy is $68. That is crazy, crazy expensive, but I absolutely love it. I've raved about it. I've recommended it. I've put it in my video on 7 products that make me feel flawless and confident, because that is what it does. It has a hefty price tag with it, but especially when it can just like give you those inner feelings, I feel like that really means something. So this one says it's a sheer to medium foundation, which once again, when I heard sheer, I was like, I don't know if I really want a sheer foundation, especially for $68. Like, Pat, I love you, girl, and you bring great wine to girls' nights, but what are you trying to do with me here? And I don't get the sheer at all. I don't feel like I really go overboard with this foundation, but I mean, one layer has really great coverage on me, and if I wanted to build it up to more of that medium, I can do it too. That's kind of where I feel like it kind of does stop. So again, if you want something with a little bit more full coverage, probably not going to recommend this one to you, but the coverage on it is beautiful. This is another one that is so long wearing. I like to tell the hot tub story with this one, just that I went in a hot tub and still my foundation looked great at the end of the night. Like, I didn't submerge myself, but I was like, you know, it gets hot. You get a little like steamy when you're in a hot tub and everything. I thought there's no way this makeup has completely melted off my face. No, my foundation looked spectacular. It's super long wearing. It's a very liquidy foundation, but I find it to be so comfortable, just really easy to use, really easy to blend out. This is one that I can go back and forth between a sponge and a brush because it is so, like I said, it is so liquidy that using a brush, I have no problems with either. And that also can give me a little bit more coverage if that's what I'm trying to go for. But it's a gorgeous foundation. I feel like I already spent too much time on it just because I talk about it so much, but I love that one. All right, and then lastly, this one is a newer-ish foundation into the market. I feel like some of the other ones have been around for a little bit longer, but this is from Colourpop, and this is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. This retails for $16, and this is supposed to be, once again, more of a hydrating foundation. It says that it is medium to buildable, which I would agree with that also. To me, it's just more of like a straight like medium to full. Like you can really build it up to a more full coverage if you really want to. I typically keep it right at the medium coverage because that's what I prefer. But this is one that really surprised me of just how beautiful and natural and skin-like. Are we playing a drinking game? Because I hope not. But I was kind of surprised at how well it looked on my skin. I haven't been the biggest fan of Colourpop complexion products in the past. Some of the other foundations and concealers just haven't been a favorite of mine. I'm also not a huge fan of hyaluronic acid, especially when it comes to my skincare, like a hyaluronic acid serum or a hyaluronic acid infused moisturizer. It's a difficult ingredient to use correctly, and if you are not using it correctly, then your skin's gonna be looking real bad. So one thing that I definitely recommend with this is to even use like a more hydrating primer with it, or a more moisturizing primer with it. And that to me, I feel like can kind of be helpful. And then what are my other notes that I wrote down? Sorry, what are my other notes? But my other notes just said that it is very natural. And this one, I do think that it's very long wearing. Some of the other ones, like the Nars, the Pat McGrath, the L'Oreal, those are really, really long wearing. This one, I don't feel like the wear time is going to be quite as high, but it's still so beautiful. And it's one of those that when I put it on, I just feel, like I've said, like I just feel like myself, but like my skin looks a little bit better, but it doesn't look like I'm trying too hard. It doesn't look like I have too much foundation on, and I really do appreciate that. So this is kind of like my wild card. I did not expect to enjoy this one so much, but I definitely would recommend that one from Colourpop. All right, that is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I was trying to add in some clips so you could also see what it looks like when I'm applying the foundation and what it looks like afterwards, and then even when I have my makeup finished. So I hope that you found that helpful also. I would love to know if this is kind of your category as well with foundations. What are some of your favorite skin-like natural finish foundations? Because I'm always on the hunt for some good ones. Thank you so much for watching though. If you enjoyed it or you found it helpful, please make sure to give this one a thumbs up. I hope you also consider subscribing before you go, and I will see you in my next video.